Hi everyone, Gevo has just signed a new deal, and does it make it a stock to buy or not? Let's dive into this video and explain everything. First of all, let's start from the deal. ADM Gevo signs MOU to produce up to 500 million gallons of sustainable aviation fuel. Now, this is great news, but Gevo has been giving us bits of news like this one for quite a long while. If you've been subscribed to this channel, you know that Gevo is actually been racking up so many customers, so many orders for the future, obviously. And today we finally look at how much we actually have in the pipeline for the future, because that's very important from a revenue point of view. And this is what we're talking about. Our potential customer contract pipeline, and listen to this, has grown to over 1 billion gallons. And that is obviously from the CEO of Gevo, Patrick Gruber. And 1 billion gallon is an awful lot, guys. If you bought Gevo stock like myself and you are hoping that this company will be profitable in the future, well, this pipeline makes us even believe that will happen with more certainty. And obviously, this is something that we need to be careful, because we know that at the moment is not profitable. Actually, in terms of revenues, Gevo is not doing too well. The earnings report will be on the 11th of November, and if you subscribe, I will make a video update. We're gonna go through the entire balance sheet and everything from the earnings. By the way, I said 11th of November is gonna be the 10th of November, so subscribe and I'll make a video on that very day. Now, obviously, we are very bullish about this deal, but the details of the deal is what makes it very important, and we are going to have a look at it right now. Now, this is the deal: about 900 million gallons of ethanol produced by ADM that will be converted into approximately 500 million gallons of SAF, so sustainable aviation fuel, and other renewable hydrocarbons. And all of this will be done using Gevo's processing technology. And this is all good and well, but when is it going to happen? We need to know it. Look at my hand, we need to know it. And I'm sure no one is talking about this specific detail. The companies intend to work together to determine full commercialization plans and blah blah blah. But let's cut to the chase that the timeline of such production of SAF can begin in the 2025 and 2026 time frame, guys. So obviously that means that this deal is not for the very short term. Actually, it's probably one of the deals that is gonna take place further in the future compared to all the other deals that Gevo's got going on, and there are so many, and in this channel we talk about them all. But now, let's talk about Gevo as an investment. Is it a good time to buy Gevo or not? Let's have a look at what the analysts say about it. Now, first of all, let's understand that Gevo is not a hype stock anymore. Let's have a look at this, the hype score that is on Hype Equity, and I trust this website because they actually look at stocks that are hyped for the day, and see that Gevo is, at the time of recording, not really a hype stock, even though it is up. But as I promised you, let's have a look at what analysts say, and we're gonna do that on TipRanks, and not just a normal TipRanks. We are gonna be pool and just look at the free version, so you can just go on it, click on it, and just have a look for yourself, because I'm not gonna sell you anything on this channel. So this is a strong buy for TipRanks, and these are what the analysts see for the future. So from the time of recording, they see upside, only upside. So even the high would be $18, which is basically more than doubling, actually almost tripling today's price. Then the average is basically doubling today's price, and the low would still be a very high upside compared to today's price. Now, one thing that you need to remember is that Gevo is a very long-term play. You cannot just dive in and hoping that it will go up through the roof tomorrow based on revenues, based on profits and things like that. The company is doing quite well, but at the time of recording, it's got very little revenues. We're gonna have a look at very closely the revenues very closely when they come out on the 10th of November, but has been very much lacking of any meaningful amount of cash flow or anything at all, which begs for the question, what are the institutional investors thinking about Gevo? And by institutional investors, I mean big institutions like banks, hedge funds, And investment companies, they have got so much money, they don't really know where to put it. And sometimes they take very speculative plays like Gevo. So let's dive into that data, and I'm sure that you're gonna be blown away by what I'm about to show you. Now, as I promised you, Gevo institutional ownership. And if we scroll down, we see that first of all, very important, 36% of the total amount of shares for Gevo is institutional ownership. That is insane. Then we see that there is actually a very nice trend going on here. Q4, Q1 of 2021 and second quarter of 2021. Look at the number of shares that have been bought. It's insane. Like the amount of bought shares versus sold shares, that is so much in favor of buying. Also, very importantly, let's have a look at who has bought. Two important names I see here. Morgan Stanley, a very big company and investment institution. Then Wells Fargo, obviously a big American bank. They both bought an awful lot amount, I can see, especially Morgan Stanley, over $7 million. Then Invesco, I see they've actually gone in very deep into their investment. But I don't want to hype institutional investors just for the sake of telling you, yes, this is a company that is gonna go through the roof. Let me show you what these numbers hide. And this is even more important than saying that these companies have been buying a lot. Now, this is very important because as we can see, there are lots of companies and they've all been buying Gevo and blah, blah, blah. But if we look at the overall amount that they actually bought, is 215 million. Now, these companies, these banks and institutional investors have got so much money. 219 million is almost nothing. It's basically pocket change for them. And so they are taking a speculative play on Gevo, hoping that it will go up, obviously, as we all do by being investor in Gevo. What's really important to understand is that, relatively speaking, this amount of money, the 219 millions, is not too much. It's a decent amount, but nothing to rave about. And so what about other investors? Let's have a look at the gurus like the Warren Buffett, the Michael Burry, all these big names that have been buying and being very successful over their lives, and they actually been leading the market most of the time, sometimes even overperforming the market. So let's have a look at what they have bought, what they think about Gevo. Now, this is Dataroma, and it's a very good website because you just go here and you enter the ticker that you want to have a look at. And as you can see, by entering Gevo, you see the super investors stat. They actually see that almost nobody, there was one sell, but no super investors, and that includes obviously Warren Buffett and loads of other investors. They haven't bought any Gevo. So that means something very important. And this thing is that Gevo is very, very speculative. And I know what you're thinking. Gevo is being backed by the government in some ways because they have an inside man in the Biden government, which is true. Obviously, that's something that we've been talking about on this channel. But at the same time, we have to look at the revenues of the company and at the state of the business. The company is actually working on a new production site called Net Zero 1, and that is gonna become productive at the end of actually 2022. So that's definitely something that we need to look forward to, but it's not gonna happen overnight. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.